Tears of the Kingdom is upon us, and with its anticipated release came a bunch of familiarity blended with innovation that puts that familiarity on its head. People have talked and praised the game for its astounding breadth of player agency, introduced with the Breath of the Wild style of open world game, thanks to the inclusion of 4 key abilities: Ultra Hand, basically what if Zelda had a map editor; Fuse, which is basically what Flex Seal advertised itself as; Reverse, which just reverses, get it, the flow of time for an object; and Ascend, which lets you laugh at the laws of nature themselves as you view any ledge above you, not as a limitation, but as an opportunity for navigation. These 4 abilities work in tandem with each other to change how you tackle and explore Hyrule, and its new additions, such as the Sky and Underground. But to me, where Tears of the Kingdom truly shines lies not within its glorified renovations to Breath's formula, which I just described, but within the subtleties of its formula. The quieter direction pivots and iterations done to the formula and key abilities that drastically retool how you approach the world and tackle the game as a whole. Recently on stream, I made my way to the Wind Temple, my first proper dungeon in Tears of the Kingdom, and quality of the actual dungeon and boss aside, a new travel ability was unlocked for me. Whereas Breath of the Wild gave Rivali's Gale, which enabled the player to leap in the air to gain more altitude for gliding or traversal, Tears of the Kingdom elects to change the angle of that ability. See, instead of being lifted up into the air, Tulin, your Rito champion in arms, creates a current of wind in your chosen horizontal direction. So while you don't get the additional altitude, you get the ability to push yourself while gliding in the desired direction. See, Rivali's Gale in Breath of the Wild had 2 main purposes, at least to me. One, you lift yourself up in the air so that you had more height from which to glide from to go farther out from your starting point. That benefit is retained with Tulin's new current, whose cooldown is pretty dang quick compared to Rivali, which could go on spring break after 3 uses. And you can use Tulin's ability while already in midair, which can be used as a last desperate gamble to try and protect yourself if you had just fallen off a ledge or something. Or it can be used for pretty interesting bouts of navigation. It's fun to think on the fly or to plan this ability out. But what about the other benefit of Rivali's Gale? Well, that other benefit was giving you an easier way to scale vertical boundaries that you would otherwise climb, or give you a significant boost up the cliff. That ability is not retained with Tulin, so theoretically, Tulin's ability should just feel worse, right? Well, not exactly. While running out of stamina 2 feet from the top of a cliff can only be an emotional transgression comparable to being kicked in the penis by a professional punter in the NFL, Tears of the Kingdom gives you other mechanisms in its sandbox to give you that sense of verticality progression. This comes from multiple sources. The towers, which launch you way up in the air to Fortnite drop down; Ascend, which is great if you have a ledge. But the other obvious one, Ultra Hand, and the fact you can store various components in your inventory from doing some gacha in the sky to create vehicles of your own design to take you wherever the hell you want. A very easy one to both acquire and build is a simple hot air balloon. You stockpile a battery, a flame emitter, a balloon, and some kind of platform to fuse them to, and you can just soar up in the air in your balloon to your desired height, not to mention just strapping yourself to a rocket and lopping as Buzz Lightyear or Team Rocket. The game gives you a bunch of creative player agency-oriented sandbox tools that you, the player, can utilize to give you a more tailor-made result for the situation or the tools at your disposal or for the situation you're in. And yeah, Rivali's Gale's verticality is very nice and quick and convenient, but the level design is overall well constructed enough to where Ascend can be used in most situations I tend to find in the main story, or an easy to construct build is readily available, especially if you have auto build. So instead of just feeling like a convenience, navigating the world feels like an actual gameplay decision as to how you want to tackle it. And that feeling itself is what drives a lot of Tears of the Kingdom's gameplay. It goes from being a sandbox whose toys and tools that were in that sandbox were very simplistic in Breath of the Wild, to, in Tears of the Kingdom, where they just give you the ability to play very simply, but also to just do whatever the hell you want. So just as a substitute for Rivali's Gale, we have all these other tools at our disposal that we can mix and match depending upon what scenario we end up finding ourselves in, what tools we have available to us. Think, just in Breath of the Wild, we had Rivali's Gale, which was cool and fun, but in Tears, Look at all the stuff we have. We have Tulin's ability for horizontal movement. We can also use it while in midair. However, we have also all the builds that we can use with Ultra Hand. We also have the various towers that launch us up into the air. We also have Ascend. We can also use Ultra Hand to construct platforms above us to ascend with. So to replace just one ability in Tears of the Kingdom, they give you all these other tools and gameplay decisions rooted in your own decision making and problem solving techniques. They take away the cookie cutter solution and add more flexibility to it, expand the tools in your sandbox, and thus giving you the player more options. It's a decision that won't be for everybody, but if you're a player that really likes having those open-ended discussions or open-ended decisions and getting very creative with the tools in your kit, then a lot of these decisions that they made in Tears of the Kingdom compared to Breath of the Wild, I think would be right up your alley. Oh yeah, I forgot, you can also use reverse on falling debris from the Sky Islands just to take you all the way up. That requires falling debris, but if you can find it, which isn't that hard, then you can launch yourself all the way up in the air, glide down, and use Tulin's ability for even more mobility while in midair. They replaced one simple button press, or hold I guess, with a bunch of different options. And I honestly think that philosophy is one of Tears of the Kingdom's greatest strengths, and one of the reasons I think the game is being so well received. If I told you to find some way to just go up vertically in Tears of the Kingdom, chances are we're going to get some absolutely wild ideas and builds, ranging from very simple in nature or very complex in nature. And this idea of having many different answers to the question, or any question that the game poses to you, is one of the foundational principles of Tears of the Kingdom, which also, in my opinion, adds to its replayability, because you can just go for different builds or for different stratagems going into each playthrough, try different kinds of builds, try things outside your comfort zone. That is the strength of the type of sandbox open world game that Tears of the Kingdom is. So I'm going to call the video there for today. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps share it loud, helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And hit the bell icon to be notified for when I upload in the future. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe. Have a great day. Go play some video games if you can. And as always, I'll see you all next time. Leave a comment down below with your favorite ability, by the way. I would love to hear it. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.